telling you, say, but we never give up, no. That we know we are go big up, yeah. Gather round and turn up the party. Shake your booty for the champagne.
This is Jafric Radio.
Action, collaboration for the celebration.
We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Tidings we bring this to you and your king. We wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Welcome to the show. I hand it over. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Jafric Radio. My name is Nanaya Pop. Today we're having a lot of interesting dignitaries from all over the world, and we are going to talk about the fitness and health business in Africa. I will hand over to Mr. Christopher in Liberia. Mr. Christopher, please, welcome.
Thank you so much, Nana, from Japan there. And thanks so much to the audience from the Kids radio station, and to all our panelists. We say thank you and welcome to this edition on note the health sector within Africa and the fitness well-being. Okay, so we would like to start with the state of our health as relates to the fitness in Africa. So can we get Taron to give us a light, or Mr. Dr. Christopher to give us a light towards that, please? Hello, are you getting me there?
Mr. Christopher, can you hear us, please?
Yeah, I'm hearing you live.
Mr. Patterson. Christopher, can you come again? Whom do you want to talk to?
Because I put this question has to be answered by Taron or Dr. Christopher. The state of health as relates to fitness in Africa. Can you give us an insight on it?
So, Mr. Taron.
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Yes, please.
I was having trouble hearing the question. It sounded like it was on my end. It was in and out.
It was breaking. Okay, it said the state of health as relates to fitness in Africa. Can you give us a state of the art on it? Can we give an insight on it?
Oh, okay. So you're asking about how is health and fitness related here, or
related? Related within Africa.
Okay. Well, I mean,
the health sector.
There's a lot of. Okay. Here in Africa, we do have a lot of collaboration. There's a lot of sports when it comes to sports, and bodybuilding is one of those where we have a lot of have a lot of gyms and also fitness camps that come to seek medical consultation, especially in the world of bodybuilding. There's a lot of nutritionists and also hormonal doctors that kind of make sure that all these athletes are, are peak in all these different areas, such as your diet and nutrition, also your hormones, where there's a lot of supplements and different things that people take. So we also have to analyze blood work to make sure that these supplements are not throwing off, the body systems. Whether it be creatines or other peptides or things that people may be taking for performance. So there's a growing collaboration between the sports industry and the healthcare industry. We're starting to also see a lot of specialists in Africa rise, such as the endocrinology, sports therapy, and these different specialists start to come and be more normalized here in Ghana. Did that answer your question mainly?
Christopher.
Yeah, so thank you so much towards that. Doctor, you want to add towards that towards what he said? You want to add any words to it?
Well, I think, are you referring to me?
Yes.
You want to,
Okay.
you want to add words to it?
Yeah, I think you give a pretty complete list of things that helps to interface the health industry in Africa as well as sports. I mean, being born in Liberia and playing sports, there were lots of time. The first time people generally when male interface with the health system was sports related, be it for physical or they had to develop an injury. But as Jamar alluded to, there are people, now you're having the issue where people are using supplements they've never used before, and they need to have some basic tests done, at least to know what the baseline are. So when there's a switch from that baseline, you can check what the performance, how it affects the performance, and the future and longevity. Or as far as Africa as it comes, most people do not come to the health system unless they have some ongoing health problem. So sports kind of propel, especially male and also female as well, into quickly interfacing with the health or system.
Okay, thank you so much towards that. But can I ask a question? Like towards the supplement, how are you talking about supplement section of for the fitness and the bodybuilding side? Towards the supplement, I see at times anybody just need kind of a supplement. Do you have any take towards that issue? Hello, doctor. How you doing?
Chris, we have two doctors, so if you can call.
Dr. Christopher, please.
Are you talking to Dr. Christopher? Medicine?
Yes. Yeah, yes. Dr. Christopher Medicine. Towards the issues of the supplement, I see a lot of the time people take the supplements as anyway. Like a person will go for C4 today, and tomorrow they go for the other one. Can you say something towards that as per the health sector?
An athlete, there are different forms of it. It may be medicinal, as in vitamin pills. It may be nutritional. If you take an average boulder or strong man prepared for competition, he or she needs a certain requirement to keep his or her body.
This is Jafric Radio.
So high protein, high carbohydrates. In that instance, I mean, they need to be able to digest that in a form that is very helpful to them. So if you have to eat a high protein, instead of using the actual protein would you use as in Africa, as in fish or chicken, that person can use a protein powder because they can digest that quicker. They don't feel bloated digestively, and allows them to keep doing the work and get to the optimal state. So the supplement, eating a balanced diet helps, but the supplement helps you get over that extra hump when you need to digest so much in a short period of time. I mean, and you also have
Okay.
people who are involved in hormonal manipulation and things like that, which is a completely different
All right.
situation.
Okay, thank you so much, Dr. Chris. That's Dr. Chris. They're giving us insight on the supplement to take towards the fitness and towards your health, especially within Africa. All right. So my second question have to be done with the nutrition and what are the consumption of it towards our diets if it's our health in Africa. Can Mr. Star Thompson, can you give an insight on that?
Hello, good afternoon. Oh, it's afternoon here. I think it's actually morning. Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hello.
We can hear you. Please go ahead.
Okay, my name is Starro Thompson. I'm speaking from Nigeria. Please, can you come again with the question? Hello. Please, can you come again with the question? Can you ask again? I didn't get you.
Nutrition, right? Nutrition. And what we as Africans consume in our diet that affects our overall health.
I'm sorry. Please say it one more time.
Come on, the diet we as African take in, right? The effect it has without like
Okay.
regulating those diets. That's at times people take in at any diet, any time of the day, any time of the night. The effect of that towards our health.
Okay. Um, if I must get you well, you're asking me to shed more light on the effect of the food that we eat as Africans, how that
Yes, please.
affects our
Yes, please.
overall health and and how it
Yes,
also
please.
supports our fitness. Um,
Yes.
okay, yeah. So coming from a place like Nigeria, the majority of food we have out here is basically carbohydrate, you know, and not like we don't have protein or the rest of the things, but the dominant food that people eat out here is carbohydrate. And of course, carbohydrate is important if you're talking about the macronutrients, because primarily your body needs that, as a form of energy for everything that you need to do. But as Africans, for us to be able to align with the other parts of the world in terms of the formal fitness practice, to be able to make certain adjustments to our diet, to our day to day in order to be able to fit in. And quite all right, we have every world is, even in the bodybuilding world, it is actually Africans that are topping the charts, that are winning every now and then. That's of a genetic factor actually. But anyone out there that is winning it big must have discovered the secrets, which is not what we primarily, practice in Africa. They hop into that entity where they get to understand.
I think his network is breaking.
It's kind of about the. It's kind of a breaking through. Let's see. It's broke.
So can you switch to someone else as he prepares?
Okay. What we are with Star Thompson. We go to the third question. It's and that question goes to D Master. Strongman Corporation CEO, please. The question is, how can we build strongman fitness Africa?
Dion, I think you are muted. You are mute. Can you unmute yourself, please? Dion, can you please
Dion
unmute
Master, are you
yourself?
there?
She's muted. Can you ask to a different person?
Because I know that you asked a question about the nutrition, so I wanted to
Oh,
kind of
okay,
come in
sorry.
on that point.
You can get.
Um,
Okay, you can clear that. Sir.
as referred to earlier, right?
Can you hear
As
me?
referred to earlier, he brought up. Oh, okay. She's
She's
back.
back.
Don't just hold on. Let's start clear this table on this nutritional stuff, please.
Okay, so one thing I noticed what my brother said is that there's a lot of carbohydrates that are in the modern diet here, in today's diet in Africa. And that's a very key point because obviously when it comes to fitness, especially bodybuilding in particular, to build muscle, you have to consume excess calories. So a lot of times, even though we're consuming excess calories, our diet is not, we don't have a high variety of mass.
This is Jafric Radio.
I think his network is out.
Okay, darn.
I could just
Yeah.
chip in while you're waiting for him to come in.
Okay, Doc.
Oh, yeah, well, I think what he was alluding to was, yes, you have a high carbohydrate diet in the sub-Saharan region, Ghana, Liberia, Nigeria, and so forth. Or in, is it enough for bodybuilding and things like that? Well, it has its place, but also we need a very high protein diet to support the body mass that we are trying to or aspire to, because you need those basic building blocks to build muscle mass, and carbohydrate is not the mean or the main substance that you use to build muscle mass. You will use the carbohydrates to give you to get a carbo load and get some energy, but as building the muscle, protein is a big source. So in Africa, of course, we have fish, we have chicken and things like that. But again, what I have not been privy to see is things like protein supplements, which are easily digestible and can better supplement the body. I mean, can better supplement bodybuilding or in places like the third world.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for that point. So, question number 3, we'll go back to Dexter for the Strongman Corporation. Are you there?
I'm good. Yes, I am.
Okay, so the question is, how can we build a strongman and fitness in Africa?
In order for the sport to grow in Africa, one of the things that we do, or that we started out doing with this thing, is we do strongman training. Here in America, it's usually like on a Saturday or a Sunday because most people work during the week. So we have we introduce days at different locations, and we invite the public to come in, to test out the implements, just to come out and train and have fun. And that's pretty much how we introduce it to new people here. Once people get used to the sport and training in the sport, we then start to have like small events where we can invite different people, or you just send out. We started sending out flyers via mail. Now with technology, 99% of it is on the website or via like an e-bite or something of that nature. We start out with a very small fee for people to come out just so they can try it, gradually raise the fees over time, because the promoters themselves, they're the ones that's having to purchase the equipment, get doing things of that nature, and all of those things cost money. We also work with a lot of different spots for venues, that help support us with the weights or with equipment or with even funding so that we can get a decent size to help move equipment back in. We then work with a lot of radio stations or to talk about the sport itself. We've produced commercials, and with so many people now being on the internet, you can do a sizzle reel online. That's just to get people to pique the interest of people. One of the other ways is you can start by just doing like one of the things that we're working on now in with the government in Nigeria is to have world's strongest truck pull, and that's just going to be like one event. It'll get people interested in the sport itself, and once people see the sport, they start to ask questions on how they can get involved.
Okay. So, if I'm gonna get you well, you said that aspect, like coming out doing some stuff so that people can see and they will ask questions towards that, in line with an exhibition.
Correct. Because if you start to do like an exhibition and you get a pretty decent crowd, strongman is a very exciting sport that people like to watch. So if you start to do things of that nature where it's free to your audience to come and watch, other people in the audience, especially other athletes, they want to know, go to the gym, I work out, I do this. What can I do to get involved? How can I get involved? So that's one of the best ways to start is by doing exhibitions.
So, to you again, towards the same strongman and fitness within Africa, what are some of the challenges involved with the strongman fitness within Africa?
Some of the challenges that we have working with athletes from not just in Africa, but sometimes in other countries is,
This is Jafric Radio.
20,000. We've been promoting sport for 25 years, where some of the other countries, especially in West Africa, Nigeria, and some of the smaller countries, some of the smaller subsidiaries of Africa as a whole, they only have maybe 10 or so athletes that are only doing the sport. So for them, it's difficult when they come to the stage because there is a fee involved, and sometimes the largest separation that we see is the affordability, because in strongman, in my opinion, for us, is a very affordable sport. However, if you are someone that is used to people see World's Strongest Man and they want to go to World's Strongest Man, but they don't realize that it is a step to get there. You can't just start training today and tomorrow be a professional. So we try to teach people on training in reference to how do you lift the log. You can't start, if someone on television is doing a 300-pound, you're not going to start with a 300, 400-pound log. Most people are going to start with somewhere or like 100 pounds or 50 kilos or something of that nature. So that's one of the things that people have to understand, that it takes time. Strength does not happen overnight. Your diet, I heard the gentleman earlier speaking about the diet and the nutritional aspect of, you know, weightlifting, bodybuilding in general. Your diet is one of the most important things, and one of the things that we try to make sure our athletes have is, you know, and when it comes to supplementation, a lot of people will supplement with like a protein supplement, especially if you live somewhere where, you know, where the most of the calorie intake involves a lot of carbohydrates. Your protein is what's going to really, really help build that muscle as well as that strength. And but you do have to seek someone that knows what a professional or a nutritionist, so that they can teach the athlete about correct nutrition when it comes to the balance between what your protein intake should compare to what your carbohydrate intake should be, and to make sure that's a balance to where your ketones are also not going to deplete your kidneys or anything like that by overdoing the protein. So it's something that the athletes, and it takes time for the athletes to learn that. And one of the biggest challenges that we see is athletes want to see that progress overnight.
Okay, the biggest problem within the strongman fitness in Africa is that we want to see it like working overnight. That's exciting.
Correct.
That's exciting to know. So
Sorry, if I
I think
if I can.
yeah, Nana, come on.
Okay, now Patterson here. If I can come in a little bit more
Okay.
to your question there into the actual growth of the sport in Africa and the hindrance, the struggles we have. I mean, we just came back from Africa's strongest competition that happened in South Africa, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm very depressed to tell you guys that there was very little representation of Africa at a competition that they're calling Africa Strongman competition, and we count a couple of in different categories. Men and women to be Africa's strongest, but that's not really good because there was only Zambia, South Africa, there was a Kenyan, there was a Liberian. That's basically it in terms of country representation. So within ourselves as Africa, we need to find a way to reach out to the associations within Africa, okay, and start talking to each other, so that when such a competition happens, we find a way to fund ourselves to get to such a so that it is competitive on an African view versus it being 5, 6 countries and then calling Africa strongman. It is. We as Zambia happy because we walked away with most of the medals, but we can't sit there and claim we're Africa's strongest when there was only 5, 6 countries. So this is where I mean that as sport in Africa, I'm happy to hear that there's Nigeria here. There's a few countries that are doing it, but we need to find and create a directory of some sort or some sort of a platform where the leaders of these associations within these countries are communicating of competitions happening within themselves. I mean, with our Zambians, we open it as Zambian Strongman. We also open it to any athletes in Africa to come and compete. And that way we get to know each other and we can grow the sport within Africa. I think we'll be making some decent strides.
Okay.
I
Thank you
agree.
so much, Mr. Patterson. That's a nice input. Thank you so much. So towards the point D Master and Patterson is making, I think we can come in and say the first thing we can try to pay attention to is the seminar where we call a seminar from different countries We cut off a seminar from different countries where Liberia will host their own, Zambia, Nigeria, and all these guys, where we'll teach the bodybuilder of what to do. Because you want to host an African strongest, but in hosting an African strongest, you want to see extraordinary thing being done, like the power explosion. You don't want to come and seeing somebody representing this country and struggling 300 or 200 kg. So I think the somebody can come up with that. I think D-Master, you can come up to that to highlight in establishing a seminar.
Yes, yes, and along with seminars, the other key thing that I think in order for anything to be successful is um, you have to be able to work together with people. A lot of times, what I saw is, especially when I first started, and especially with me being a female, is there's too many. I don't know a good way to say this, but there's too many egos involved to where everybody wants to be in control, and so where everybody wants to be in control, they start to fight amongst each other, and everybody does their own separate thing. And what has to happen is everyone has to be able to work together if they want to grow the sport for their country and for their athletes. It can't be about what just your opinion or just my opinion. It has to be a collaborative effort.
Okay, so thank you. So so this question goes to Mr. Patterson and D Master. So with the strongman and that of this within Africa, uh, the what's the standpoint when it comes to getting business involved within it? Because I know the strongman and the fitness is also business because you sell supplement and all, and those uh, gloves and the clothes and stuff. How can it get involved within it
How can
from the
business get
business
involved
Sorry,
in it? Is that
from that business standpoint involvement with instrument?
um, the way that the one of the better ways to get your businesses involved? One of the things that athletes need to do is, obviously with, like, let's say supplements, protein supplements, creatine supplements, food supplements, you talk to those companies about the event that you want to have and see if they can help to sponsor to where either if they cannot sponsor financially, maybe they can do some type of a package to what they can present to the athletes. The athletes can either get a discount or give the athletes some samples of the product. Same with clothing. Have the athletes wear that sponsor's clothing during the competition. Way when photos and videos, that company's image is in the background. If you're doing like a truck pull or a car lift or something of that nature, talk to different car companies about sponsoring the event. Um, and using their vehicle in the event. If you're doing, say, a log lift, talk to different companies about making a log. So those are some of the ways that you can get companies involved, even if it's something that doesn't even involve strength. It could just be your typical ice company. You can get a sticker and decorate the equipment to represent that company as well.
well, Dion pretty much wrapped it up. It's it's um, it's it works. It works the same way with any sport. I mean, getting the business side involved is as straightforward in terms of who are you targeting, what they can benefit from it. What is your I mean, I'm sure any of us here that have done any events towards strongman are still struggling to get any ship because the sport itself hasn't got legs. So people want to come behind a sport that has got a lot of viewership. So the viewership for strongman is not that high yet. Um, so you that sponsors would their feet when it comes to sponsor anything. I mean, in terms of us in Zambia, I mean, we're just fortunate that I'm in the events industry. So to start off the sport, I pretty much used 90% of my own equipment and stuff because I do shows and stuff. So I have all the sound equipment. I pretty much put shows for a living. So I put out a show and equipment we've made on our own, and we'll put it together and then create the show. So that's what's created the legs and the excitement for the sponsorship that we are getting. Um,
This is Jafric Radio.
but it was initially very difficult. So, I mean, it's not like soccer or football where you know that the viewership is in the millions and sponsors are back to back trying to jump in there. So that's outside of that. I think it all goes back to us making enough noise about the sport, getting the people excited. Because when people see it, they are excited to keep watching, and that's what we need to do to get the numbers to start viewing the sport in itself.
Okay, Mr. Patterson, thank you for that input. So the thing is, you need more attention towards the sport, more noise towards the sport. But you see, in Africa, when we are looking at sometimes the standard gym, yeah, the standard gym, not how we call it in Africa, those backyard gym, right? When we are looking at those gym with those standard equipment, how can we get that across Africa?
What creating standard gyms across Africa? What your question is?
Creating standard gyms with yes, creating standard gyms with those equipment that are well balanced because you see at times a bodybuilder walk up to or like those kind of a backyard gym where he just pick up the iron and just lift anything he feel like lifting. But I think if you get a standard gym, you get something. So how can we get those standard gyms across Africa?
That's a tricky one because I mean, unfortunately, you actually need to have somebody who has the passion for it to in each country to jump into that outside of the government themselves. I mean, I'm sorry, I keep referring to Zambia because what's happened here is we're getting quite a bit of funding coming out of the government now because for us the minister and the permanent secretary are gym fanatics, so they see us work out the half the time, so they have developed an interest themselves towards the sport and putting in quite a bit of funds behind it. And I would like to whether this is I'm jumping the gun, but right now we're in discussion for Africa Strongman to happen in Zambia at the Victoria Falls for 2023. So it's something that is very exciting for us, and I would not want a situation like what happened in South Africa, where there was 5, 6 countries. So in some way we need to on this platform amongst ourselves, pushing it in all the Africa or reaching out to each other that this event's going to happen, and it's going to happen in Zambia if it comes through, wherever it does happen anyway, we start talking about it and getting ourselves there. But in a nutshell, that equipment is needs to have to be rallied behind a force than just an individual. Maybe the government within there needs to be sold that idea, and whether we run it through a schools program of some sort where they will purchase equipment that we can go around schools within each country and create the sport in that light. In fact, that's my plan here, and and I'm hoping to get the funding behind from the doing it, implementing it here. And if any other country can pull that off, I think it might be a way to grow the gyms stroke sport within its country.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Patterson, for input. Anybody has anything to say towards that before we move further?
Were you talking to me? I'm sorry.
Like the question we asked, Mr. Patterson has answered, but if anybody has anything to say towards that before we move further.
I would say
I mean,
reference
as
to
far as
equipment.
you mentioned,
Okay, Mr. Medicine, you can go on.
yeah, I think just talking about backyard gyms and things of sorts. Well, I think too often we look to the first world to manufacture these super machines and everything else. People going to South Africa, be it, oh boy.
We lost him.
Did we
Dr.
lose him?
Christopher, are you there? Is Dr. Christopher around?
We lost him.
Okay, so Dr. Christopher, once he gets connected, he can make some input. So the last question before we try to wrap up: bodybuilding, powerlifting, strongman, and strong women as part of fitness in Africa, because at times people see fitness only to get jogging, get warming up and stuff. So how can we make that as a sport, like a global sport in Africa? The master,
Are you
Mr. Patterson,
are you saying
we
how
can get
can
a
you
hit on
make?
it. Yeah,
Can you hear me?
as a thing like the yes.
How can you make it a global sport in Africa? Um, I I think the different organizers in Africa, whether it be in Zambia, whether it be in West Africa, South Africa, wherever in Africa, I think all of you guys working together on, hey, this year I'm going, like this year, Mr. Patterson, or next year, Mr. Patterson, you working with the other organizers and saying, I'm going to be the host of, let's work on we can get these funds in South Africa. So let's work on having South or Africa's Strongest Man in Zambia this year, and then the following year maybe moving it to another area of Africa. But it's going to, I think, in order for it to become a global sport in Africa, all of the organizers have to be able to work together for one main goal. And I think if everyone's working together for the same goal, you'll have it as a global sport. It's not going to be an overnight thing, but it will. But it, like I say, it's taken me 25 almost 26 years to be where we are now here in the States.
Wow.
And we're a pretty well known sport. However, we're still not we still don't outdo football or baseball or even soccer. So but it's a pretty well known sport, and we do have athletes that are making a pretty decent living off of the sport, and that comes by everyone, all of the different organizers working together. Here in the states alone, just in the states, I have I want to say 55 different promoters, 55 different representatives, not promoters, all over the country that work for us to help to promote events. All of the events that they promote are under one umbrella. That umbrella is Strongman Corporation, and those representatives, they go out into their own state. Like, let's say in New York, we have two representatives in the state of New York. They go out within New York and they find other promoters to help promote the sport, whether it be, and they even promote the sport like a fitness festival. So at that fitness festival, you can have bodybuilding, and you can work with someone that can promote bodybuilding. Then they can have Also, powerlifting. You can have weightlifting. You can have strongman, and everybody's working together. And people from all over are coming in. We have events like let's say here in Missouri, we have Missouri Strongest Man, and we will tell people you have president of Missouri in order to come to the competition. I think that could help eliminate some of the problems that Mr. Patterson spoke about earlier with Africa, South Africa's Strongest Man. You've got so many different other countries there. How can you say it's South Africa? You can say that by saying you have to be a resident of XYZ country in order to compete.
Okay.
Okay, just
Thank you so much. Yeah, Mr.
just to
Patterson,
add
you're
on,
coming.
just to add on to that, I am the thing that I am that that I'm finding very difficult to swallow, especially here in Africa, is especially with our sport strong is uh, the entities in South Africa. They have personalized the sport, and it's creating a lot of politics within how we speak, and it's very difficult because initially we were affiliated with them, and it's made it very to work because they have got this now, and they have in-house fighting, which is making the go backwards, if
Correct.
for lack of a better word.
Hmm.
What initially when we started this the sport here, it was initially personalized. When I took it over, we turned it into an association run, owned by a individual. Um, um, I, First of all, don't want to put money behind an individual. The corporates and the funding, they feel comfortable give association because they know that
Correct.
this sport will carry on even after son has lived, and I see that being a problem. I mean, because for example, I stand to be corrected, Dion.
Hmm.
We were in um, we were in Daytona 3 weeks ago for the OSG
Yes, sir.
with Lynn, and
Yes, sir.
I don't
Hmm.
know. From my understanding, it looks like even Lynn has personalized that event, and it's me. I don't believe. I think that's what slows down the sport. I mean, if anything, it's gotta be it's gotta have a board of directors. It's gotta have a system. It live after you. And if we're gonna personalize it, what happens when you get hit by a bus? Touch wood,
Correct.
and that is what slows down the sport in Africa. Well, I'm shocked that it's it's happening in the states too. But I mean, maybe
Oh, it's
that's
all
why the
over the world.
sport itself.
That is, you're absolutely correct, and that's what I say. I say it all the time. The sport can be so much bigger if everybody works together. But the problem is people will
Yeah,
start to
it's
work
the
together, and
teamwork.
then they get an idea, and they get an idea that they can do it better, so they splinter off to try and do their own thing, and that's what you get.
Yeah, it's sad because I think
Oh,
that I think itself is really, really slowing down the sport. I mean, for us, I'm the president of the sport here now, but
Hmm.
by 2024, I'm gonna get I have up that seat. We'll do a vote, and somebody else will come
Yes,
in. I might become a board member or whatever, but the sport will live on. Okay, it's got
correct.
oh,
nothing to do with with me. And if we can bat with the sport everywhere else, I think strongman can grow because everybody has an interest in something that has a future.
You're right,
okay. Thank
and
you so much.
that's why I
Thank you
say
so
I
much.
have so many people working. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, come on. Just come in with that
I
point.
said he is correct. Yes, I was saying that he is correct, and that is why I said I have so many people working. I don't. I don't promote any shows. I have other people that help to promote shows under the same umbrella to where we're all working together to where we have one national championship, one world championship, or something of that nature on the amateur level. 100% correct. It's going to take other promoters, a board of directors, and people working together, not against each other.
Okay, so it all boils down to the one goal as a teamwork, right?
100%.
Yeah. So before we close, we want to take a pattern comment. We want to take a closing thought from each of our panelists. So we start with it's Mr. Victor.
I don't think
Okay,
so.
if
I
Mr.
can see him, please.
Okay, if Mr. Victor is not in, then we can take a word from Star Thompson. Star, Mr. Are you there? Okay, if Mr. Thompson is not there, we can take word from Dr. Christopher Medicine. Dr. Christopher, are you there? Hello, Dr. Christopher.
I think Dr. Christopher's network
It's
it's
bad.
it's bad.
That's Africa. That's Africa for ourselves. Okay, so we can take a word from yeah. That's just Africa for ourselves with the global. But it's kind of a global honest. Just kind of hard to talk. So we can take word from Mr. German.
Um, what I'll say is that I think this, we have a bright future here in Africa when it comes to sports uh, and fitness as well as healthcare. Uh, we're starting to see rapid growth in all industries. Um, it's a hot market. It's starting to become, each year it's just starting to get more and more popular. Even when I first came here to Ghana just 4 years ago, I'm starting to look at all the gyms that are popping up everywhere, and people are starting to take their healthcare more serious. There's investment into different sports that never were there previously. So it's important that all of us, as we start to reach success in our individual industries, that we come together and come together to be able to promote each other's platforms as well as events. So those of us in the health space, those of us in the fitness space, um, we need together and bring our resources together to plan these events and to do marketing and to promote this sport. Um, so I think that Ghana, as well as the whole entire of Africa, has a bright future when it comes to health and fitness, especially when it comes to
Yeah,
the strongman.
yeah. I think that is so important, and like you were saying, with the involvement, we can also get those health care area involved within it because at least it could be advisable that after every 3 months or after every 2 months, after every 2 months of training or after every 3 months, you go and see a doctor to know how you because it's not only by training because you are taking in other supplements and so forth. So thank you so much, Mr. German, for your
This is
input.
Jafric
So
Radio.
just 2 minutes before we wrap up, we want to take a word from D Master and that Mr. Patterson. Just 2 minutes.
I my final take on this is, whether it be strongman, powerlifting, bodybuilding, just general fitness itself. I get excited when I hear that there's more fitness facilities, as well as medicine coming along in the African region. And I think once, all of the organizers across the board in all sports start to work together, maybe, when we were speaking of board of directors, that's something that, maybe get someone from each sport, as part of being on a board to help promote the individual sports, because it was individual sports, because not only will it promote those sports, but it'll help to grow the fitness industry in Africa.
That's the boss of the Strongman Corporation. And we move over to Mr. Patterson for your passing comment, please.
For me, all I can is 3 words: Africa, Africa, Africa. We need to unite. That's it, guys.
This is Jafric Radio.
I think Mr. Patterson his main point in this whole thing is that Africa needs to unite.
Very important.
Exactly.
Very
We
important.
really,
Very
really
important,
need
Nana.
to pull. So I'm very excited about what you guys have done with this show, and that we can speak to guys all over the world, and hopefully that we to a lot of people and have a chat, and maybe we might be getting somewhere, because it's enough now that we always competing against each other. It's time we start doing things together, and within that competing with each other, we need to be growing each other. So it doesn't stop at competing with each other. It must carry on to the growth of the sport within Africa. No matter what sport. I know right now we are talking powerlifting,
On fitness and health.
bodybuilding, and exactly. So let's grow it. So Africa. I'm gonna start singing Bob Marley songs now, but yeah, you know where I'm going.
You're gonna start singing the Black Money song by saying "One Love." Okay, so much.
Exactly.
This is Jafric Radio.
Yes, that's exactly that Bob Marley song from way down the line. At that time, we were small. We knew that song a little bit, but our uncle used to sing it, and we still used to hear some noise in the house, but they still used to sing that song. So
Exactly.
So yeah. So Nana, you have anything to say before we wrap it up?
Yeah, thank you so much. What Mr. Patterson said is the key. We need to unite. Even watching the World Cup now in Qatar, you see the team that are united, the African team, they are winning. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew Nana was going for this. I just knew Nana was going for this. I knew it.
I love uniting, man.
This is Jafric Radio live, man.
Yeah.
This is Jafric Radio.
I know.
Thank you so much.
So our panelists, we say thank you to Tyron. We say thank you so much to Mr. Victor. He wasn't present, but we say thank you so much for being part of it. We say thank you to Dr. Christopher, D Master. Thank you, Mr. Patrick. Thank you, and I'm your host, Christopher B. Dumpo from Liberia, from the Liberia Fitness Federation. Lockdown with Nana Yapon from there, Japan, from Africa. Nana, you can take it from your side.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Once again, I would just to say thank you to all our panelists. Sorry you can't see my face, but you can hear my voice. But I'm with you, and I hope that we can continue to do this program. It's a beautiful program, and I know that we are going to unite, and Africa will take his best clothes and put on soon.
And employ Miss Krista Judah Morris from there in the US. She's the CEO of the Liberia Strongman Foundation. Applaud go to her.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you so much,
Thank
everybody.
You guys. Thank you. Cheers.
But before we
Thank you,
go,
guys.
I want to put Bob Marley One love. And then we're all gonna sing.
One Africa.
And then we say one Africa.
Okay.
And then we say bye-bye.
So D Master gonna do the soprano and Mr. Paddock gonna do
They want to escape. They want to take people off the line now.
Because during that time back in school days, I would just be quiet.
Yeah, one love. One Africa.
Yeah, man.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. Stay well, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. God bless you all.
Stay blessed.
We were gonna do part 2.
We're ready.
One love.
That's a soprano for D Master. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Christopher, thank you.
Guys, thank you. Have a good one. Stay blessed, guys. Love you all.
Okay.
Love you too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
This is Jafric Radio.
Let them all pass all their dirty remarks. There is one question I'd really love to ask. Is there a place for the hopeless sinners who has hurt all mankind? Just a Savior's home, believe me.
This is Jafric Radio.
What about a one heart? What about let's get together and
This is Jafric Radio.
as it was in the beginning, one love, so shall it be in the end. One heart. Alright. Thanks and praise to the Lord, and I will feel alright. Let's get together and feel alright. One more thing. Let's get together to fight this holy Armageddon.
Jafric Radio. Radio.
There will be no doom. Have pity on those whose chances grow thin. There ain't no hiding place from the Father of creation. Saying, one love. What about
In a world where there are many people on the lookout to take advantage of your clients, we are here to look out and to protect your big dreams. Here are 4 great reasons why you can trust us. 1, we're part of a group which has a pedigree of 98 years and is listed on the Ghana Stock Exchange. 2, we are part of a life insurance company which pays the most claims.
This is Jafric Radio.
In partnership with Prudential Financial Incorporated in USA, a global Fortune 500 company. 4, we're duly registered with the National Insurance Commission and have overly surpassed our minimum capital requirement. Your advantage? Definitely.
Enterprise, your advantage. This is Jafric Radio. This is Jafric Radio. This is Jafric Radio. This is Jafric Radio. This is Jafric Radio.